With its seemingly long list of benefits, which includes boosting mood, alleviating pain, promoting healthy sleep and healthy digestion, improving skin conditions, and so many more, it's no wonder people are turning to essential oils to support their health and well-being. The popularity of these wonder-working oils is stirring interest in learning how to extract them for personal use or for business. Welcome to Extraction Essentials, where you'll learn and discover how to create a formula using quality engineered products. Hosted by Tony Frischknecht, this podcast is all about the process of extraction tools and the equipment that surrounds the extraction lab or facility. Create an income while enjoying the many benefits and uses of essential oils by tuning in to Extraction Essentials.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Extraction Essentials. I'm your host, Tony Frischknecht, and today we're going to be discussing making your own oils from biomass as a topical or ingestible. As our guest today, I have co-founder of Essential Extractions and COO, David Ross. I have Nick Gay from Jagged Peak Consulting. And then I have Chris Johnson, which, Chris, I believe you're working with Nick on some projects. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. We are looking into all the various types of extractions of different types of nature's compounds.
Great. And what's your background, Chris? We'll start with you first.
My background is a little bit of a lot of things, but the main thing concerning essential extracts was I started one of the first edibles companies in Colorado. That was called Gaia's Harvest. And then we had the first FDA-approved kitchen that we used, and we're able to bring in a bunch of other companies to do things correctly and provide a substructured licensing agreement with them.
So Gaia's has been around for some time, so it's good to have you here today. Thanks so much for being here. Nick, what's your background and what have you worked on with the essential oils?
Yeah, definitely. So I've worked in the cannabis industry for about 8 years now. Most recently, I was working at Acreage Holdings, kind of in charge of their equipment sourcing and manufacturing and extraction. But yeah, I've been doing extraction for many, many years and have won different cannabis cups and different awards like that. So yeah, that's kind of my 10 cents here.
Okay.
Pass it on over to David.
Yeah, David. You know, for the listeners out there, we as a group have a lot of experience in the cannabis industry, but that's what's actually led us into expanding upon what essential oils are out there and what they do for people. And so we are expanding much, much further. So forgive us if you're not a THC fan or a CBD fan. We don't mean to offend you. We're just teaching people from our knowledge and our experience for over the last decade. David, go ahead and share with the folks out there what's your experience and what you're working on.
Yeah, my experience is in the cannabis industry, in the product development side of things. I got my teeth cut at a large brand. People know it as Open Vape. And I was a project development manager there and have a few patents to my name in regards to hardware and equipment. And from there, yeah, we branched on, learned a lot, consulted with many in the industry, and have developed our own systems now.
Great. My first question is going to be for Chris today. Chris, what are the main benefits of making your own essential oils?
Some of the main benefits, and first and foremost, you know what you're getting if you know where the product comes from. So by using this product, the Little Buddy, you're able to actually harvest from your garden and know what you put into it, what type of the genealogy of that plant. If it's lavender, there's tons of different types of lavender. So you would actually know what's in it, what your yield is, and you could take care of it and make it organic and natural and not have to pay the price for the label.
Yeah, when it comes to organic, we pay dearly for it at the store on anything we buy, right?
Yeah. And that's one of the best things. And also the fact that the research on all these different oils do have different treatments, and they pretty much lead into the next because they grow next to each other. In the way that the benefits of your health and wealth, doing more research and giving all the tools and rhetoric to the person that's going to ingest it, the conversation can then be open, which is, one of the more beautiful moments in talking about medicine.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's more transparency. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, transparent communication leads to mutual understanding.
Okay, great. Nick, how would this work for an ingestible maker?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, you can extract all sorts of different things with this machine. So, for example, most recently I extracted some hops to make beer out of. And so from just one run, I pulled enough oil to make 10 gallons of beer. That could be a definite selling point for a lot of different home brewers and things like that. But you can also make your own essential oils, or you could even decaffeinate coffee and make a caffeine extract if you really wanted to. So really the realm of what you can do with this machine, it just keeps growing and growing, only limited by your imagination, really.
Let's talk about the hops real quick. I'm interested in discussing
definitely.
that. So how much hops did you have to use to come up with the end product that you said you could make 10 gallons of beer with?
Yeah, totally. So I did a couple different extractions, one which was from pelletized hops, which is the one that David's actually going to show you now. That's from Sabro hop pellets. So that cost me $3 at a brewing store. And I extracted all of the hop oil out of it, which is the stuff that gives beer its bitter flavor and also aroma and flavor. And so the benefit of using this as opposed to just hops or hop pellets itself is that you get to skip the kind of the biomass portion of it. So, when you're boiling a plant, it'll bring out certain different flavors.
Mm-hmm.
So by using just hop oil, you're just bringing out that one flavor that you've extracted from the hop, which is a pretty interesting thing for people to do.
So if somebody is making beer out there and they are allowed to skip this process, how much time does that save them?
Well, it doesn't really save you any time, but it makes arguably a better product. And then it's also something that's a little bit more marketable. Like there's a lot of different beers that market to the fact that they use CO2 extracted hop oil and things like that. It's a pretty big selling point right now.
Let's talk consistency on products when you start dealing with an essential as opposed to extraction. What does that do for your consistency?
Yeah, totally. I'm just going to stick with the brewing side of things. If you're a large brewery, you'd want to have a very consistent product. So by having hop oil as opposed to hops, you can have a large amount of something that you could use all year round that, you're getting the same thing. It's a very repeatable process as opposed to, getting hops itself, which, end up losing their flavor. They go bad, they get stale, that sort of thing. So it has a longer shelf life. And as far as like essential oils, let's say you're making lavender essential oil to make soap. You want it to smell the same every time for the most part, as opposed to like if you were to just use lavender flower and put it into it, A, it wouldn't be strong enough to get that smell out there. And B, there's so many different types of lavender, as Chris mentioned, and that way you can have a more repeatable flavor and smell.
So you're saying that there's consistency, there's a better consistency with ingestibles and topicals. It works the same for both. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And also, I'd like to add in, as flavoring and consistency goes, with people that try to bring up nostalgia and the tastes and the fermentation process, then somebody can take this essential oil and do like gastronomy and food, and also make it processed into their own chocolates and stuff like that. If people are trying to also remember and not forget why we drink things, but maybe they're trying to cut out alcohol. So if they want to have the hops in there and just enjoy the feeling and that conversation of life, you can still enjoy things that remind you of nostalgia and not actually have to ingest what everybody else just thinks hops is for.
That's a good point. I think that I'm going on about 2.5 years of no alcohol, and I kind of have stayed away from any of the non-alcoholic beers because I don't know, I don't need the extra thought. But if there was like, if you could just add this to your bubbly drink, I might try it. I mean, I don't know what's exactly in a lot of the non-alcohol. I know they have a little bit of alcohol in them already. So that's pretty cool. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah, and they actually make a product now called hop tea, which is made with extracts similar to this, where they use like green tea or white tea, and then they infuse it with hop oil. So yeah, like you just said, non-alcoholic, but tastes kind of like remembrance of beer.
That's really cool. Well, didn't want to go too far off on that, but from what you guys are testing, that's kind of fun. So how much was the product that you bought from the hops that you bought? It's like they're compressed tablets, or what are they?
Yeah, they're compressed tablets. So it was 1 ounce and it was $3.
Really? Okay.
So
So you got the flavor of, for 10 gallons of beer, you've gotten the flavor and the smell all for about $3.
Yeah, totally.
It seems like if you were to create a consistency there that, say a guy like me, say I was the guy who added the flavor of and the smell of beer. I mean, how easy would it be for me as a employee to go add this in the beer? As long as you add 1 ounce for this, it seems pretty easy.
Yeah, totally.
And it seems really like it would be tough for me to mess up as long as I did the calculations right for the amount of, for 10 gallons of oil, you put 2 drops in and that's it.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. So as we're going to create more and more, I mean, there's people out there, I mean, essential oils are they're such a grand part of the market now. Everybody smell, touch, and feel, right? So as they're making products, what do you see as the future for essential oils? Do you see the market's just going to be bigger? Or are we going to hone in on certain industries more? Do you guys have an opinion on that?
Yeah, the market for at-home processing is going to expand, and people really do want to know. They're becoming more knowledgeable and more just health conscious on what they are putting into their bodies. And that market across all markets, that segment across all markets is really expanding. And I really think that with the systems and the ease of use and, you know, the low cost, low price point for our customers really allows that market, really serves that market well.
I was going to say there's, and also with right now, especially with COVID going around, being more knowledgeable and having our own power about a really big conversation everybody's having about healthcare and having health insurance, knowing that pharmaceuticals haven't all led us in the correct direction. The reflection is now knowing, and we've all heard whimsical tones like, you have all the medicine that you need in nature. Now, the research that everybody can do together, because there's so many different vast types of plants. I mean, thousands and thousands. Actually, I believe it's more like 10 or 30,000 types of mushrooms, and different ones like cordyceps and trichutes are really good for everything from destroying AMA, which is buildup of fats and lipids around different parts of your dendrite nerves in your brain, and it helps with digestion. And there's a different type of mushroom that actually grows on plastics, and now being able to see that nature is trying to be more nurturing to all of us is pretty robust. That I've done some research, and there's this one tincture that's called 5 Thieves oil, and it seems to be, and shown in very many different ways, that's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antifungal, and antimicrobial, which, if this is true, we can dial in the specs to show everybody and have the conversation about the most potent potential of essential extractions, we could have easier way to weather this storm.
Are you seeing, is there a lot of essential oils that are coming from mushrooms right now? Have you done that?
So there are some people, and there is a lot of research being done on specifically extracts of mushrooms, because they can help somebody that is going through depression or that has an addiction to opiates, alcohol, and in general, people being able to go through a therapeutic process and being coached to speak through feelings opens up in the same way with like CBD versus THC. It opens up your blood pathways. So being able to extract one thing versus the other, it's an easier way to relax one another if things are done with metrics and dialed in with research and conversations, because everybody is different.
Yeah. So this next question I'm going to ask Nick. Nick, what are a couple things that the person starting extraction, what are the 1 to 2 things that you would say they need to look out for when they're looking at starting a small scale extraction?
Well, spending too much money. That's always huge, because you can go down the rabbit hole pretty far and spend thousands of dollars and not be able to do what you want, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And really just thinking about what do you want to do and what realm of extractions do you really want to do? Like if you're just if you're just doing one every once in a while, then maybe it's worth it to do one. A lot of different extractions, then it's definitely worth it to get little extraction unit here. And the reason why is because it's just so easy to use, and then at the price point, and it's so versatile. So like a lot of people who make essential oils, they'll do steam distillation, which you can only really do certain types of products out of steam distillation just because of, like we were talking about earlier, about the heat that it takes to boil the water will actually destroy some of the essential oils. So the CO2 extraction method is a lot better for that because it doesn't destroy some of those volatile oils. For example, like there's essential oil that's made out of orange blossom that a lot of perfume companies use, and it's very, very, very expensive. And the only way you can get it is through CO2 extraction. So, if you have a perfume company or a apothecary or something like that, then you can use this machine to offer products that people typically don't offer, and that are typically really, really, really expensive, such as and if you're somewhere like Southern California, you can make orange flower essential oil, which is great.
So number one, expense. What's number two you would say that they need to be aware of if they're starting to small scale extraction?
Input material. Because what you're doing is you're actually concentrating the product. So if you start with a product that has a lot of pesticides or something like that in it, you're actually going to concentrate that into the product. So, always thinking about where am I getting this? How is it being grown? And, just kind of continuing that conversation as far as health and well-being.
So you're saying pretty much you put crap in there, you're going to get crap out.
Yeah, totally. If something has a lot of pesticides in it, you're just going to, say it has this much pesticides in the whole mass of it. And then you concentrate that, and now your percentage just went from 1% to 10% of whatever it is,
Yeah.
So you want to be really careful about that. And as well as you just tainted your entire system that you use to run this material as well, and you have to clean it all and stuff like that.
What would you say the third thing would be to look out for when you're starting small extraction?
Outlet for the product, especially in the cannabis industry. Some people, they're just like cranking out product, and then they have nowhere to sell it. So,
okay, that's a
so
great
just because
point.
you can make it doesn't mean you can sell it.
Make sure there's a market for it, is what you're saying.
Totally.
Gotcha. David,
I'd like to kind of expand upon just the safety aspect and really utilizing our system as a system that allows you to run your material and get it tested and qualified before it gets out there to the consumer. So that's things like, potency analysis is just providing the quality of the product. Something that, people try to mask these days, I think, just really utilizing our system as a quality control tool, right? Just pulling that small sample and getting it screened for potency, toxins, residual solvents, all the tests that you need to do to these aren't FDA, approved. So we are really relying on these processors to adhere to those standards without actually having to go through the certifications. So, part of the tool, the system is the QA quality control analysis process.
So you've spent a significant amount of time in the extraction world. Where have you seen, could you have used this product in the past that would have saved you so much time and just headache?
Yes, absolutely. And that is one of the main reasons, one of the driving forces for developing a small scale system, because we were constantly putting in large amounts of resources into just finding out that the product wasn't viable. So, that's using your large scale extractor or purchasing material only to find out that won't pass analysis, that is tainted material. We've ran into those issues countless times, and that is one of the biggest reasons. It's really, using a small system is on a biweekly basis can save you $10,000 on those decisions.
Yeah, and if you're a small business out there and you're, either you're like $10,000, like that's a big amount, or it's small, it adds up very quickly. So you're talking about, like you said, biweekly. $20,000 a month. I don't know any owner out there that's owning a business that wouldn't like to put $20,000 a month in their pocket. And so it comes down to one of those things of, how do we bring that to the end user? And that's really where this is. A lot of these processes that David here has created with some of these extraction machines is where this is coming from. So for you guys listening out there, we will put in the podcast info. We'll have the connection to these guys so you can reach out to them and ask questions. You can also reach out to us at essentialextractioncorp.com and check us out there. Also ask us any questions you want. We are readily available on most of the social media aspects. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And we'd love to have you back in the future to talk about some more stuff. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
We appreciate you.
No problem. No problem. All right, guys. Well, come back next week and join us for another episode of Extraction Essentials. We'll see you then.
You have just listened to another informative episode of Extraction Essentials with Tony Frischknecht. We invite you to come back next time as we strive to provide useful knowledge and tools every week to help you on your extraction business. You can also visit extractionessentials.com for additional resources and to know more about working with Tony. See you again next time.